Hallelujah. You see, it says because of his importunity.
Por su importunidad.
It's why he got up.
Es porque se levantó.
And opened the door and gave him.
Y le abrió la puerta y
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So how hard are you going to bang on his door, amen? How hard are you going to go before God and start calling out upon him, amen? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Luke chapter 8. Hallelujah. And verses 1 through 8. It says there was a widow. It says, and he spake a parable unto them to this end, and a man ought always to pray and not to faint, saying there was in the city a judge. Hallelujah. Which feared not God, neither regarded men. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of mine adversary. Hallelujah. And he would not for a while. But afterward he said within himself, though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me. Hallelujah. But this widow troubleth me. You got to understand. Hallelujah. You got to understand. You can read it. You can read it in Luke chapter 18. Puede leer en Lucas capítulo 18. Y versículo 1 hasta 8. Hallelujah. But you got to understand. In that time, the judges, they would take tents and they would go around to place and conduct their court cases, if you would say. But not all of them were just. They had a motive. Hallelujah. They wanted. You know, they were out for money. And if you wanted to win a case, you needed to have some money. If you wanted your case to be heard, you needed to have some money. Hallelujah. But you see, this woman was old. She didn't have any friends in there. And she had no money. She already had 2 strikes against her. But the one thing that she did have was that she was persistent. She sought the judge. She bugged the judge. It says, yet because this widow troubleth me, hallelujah, I will avenge her, lest by her continually coming, saying, coming, she weary me. Hallelujah.
Sin embargo, porque esta vida me es molesta, le haré justicia, no sea que viniendo de continuo me agote la paciencia.
You gotta understand. We need to be persistent.
Tenemos que ser persistentes.
We need to be persistent in everything that we do. Hallelujah. Not only just for the things that God can bless us. Hallelujah. But so that God can also hear us. Hallelujah. And He will help us and see us through. Hallelujah. And whatsoever that we are doing, amen. You see, we got to be persistent for the Lord. Hallelujah. And we need to be persistent for the Lord. Hallelujah. We need to use our voices. Hallelujah. We need to get a hold of God. Hallelujah. And say, Lord, here I am. It doesn't matter the circumstances before me. Hallelujah. But I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing for you. Because I know that you're going to see me through. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We need to be persistent. Hallelujah. You see, my son was persistent.
Mi hijo era persistente.
He called not only me,
No solamente me llamó a mí,
but he called a lot of people that night, a lot of family. Hallelujah.
le llamó a mucha de la familia.
Because he wanted something to happen.
Porque él quería que algo sucediera.
He wanted everybody to get together. Hallelujah.
Quería que se juntaran todos.
And he was persistent that
Y
night.
era persistente en esa noche.
You see, there was a time, hallelujah,
Había un tiempo
I was told, hallelujah,
que me dijeron
that my daughter had a tumor by her brain stem.
que mi hija tenía un tumor encima de su cerebro.
She was very little.
Estaba muy chica.
And they were talking about surgery, hallelujah.
Estaban hablando de cirugía.
You know, and when I heard it, my heart just broke.
Cuando allí pues, se quebró mi corazón.
Because of the fact that she was so young.
Porque era muy joven.
And the doctor didn't have much faith in,
El doctor no tenía mucha fe
in the surgery.
de la cirugía que iban a hacer.
The chances of her living and dying were both 50-50.
De que ella viviera estaba 50-50 o viviera 50-50.
But because of the way the tumor was positioned,
Porque a donde estaba el tumor,
it was more likely that she would not make the surgery.
quizás no iba a vivir.
Hallelujah. So we took my daughter home and we had to do some thinking.
Nos lo llevamos a la casa y tuvimos que pensar unas cosas.
And I began to pray to God.
Pero yo comencé a orar,
And I began to tell the Lord,
comencé a decirle al Señor,
with all the difficulties that she's got going on in her life
todas las
already,
dificultades que ella está pasando,
with everything that's going on already,
con todas las cosas que están sucediendo,
how are you going to allow her to have a tumor
¿por qué vas a dejarla que tenga este tumor?
by her brainstem?
Encima de su esquema del cerebro.
How can you allow this to happen?
¿Cómo puedes dejar que esto suceda?
And I just began to seek God.
Comencé a buscar al Señor
And I left it alone.
y luego así lo dejé.
And I used to do work for this man.
Y yo trabajaba por este Señor.
A while back, he was just somebody that would do maintenance on his house for.
Un señor que yo trabajaba ahí en su casa.
And he came to me
Vino el Señor a mí,
and he told me,
me dice,
what's going on with you? What's happening?
¿qué está sucediendo en tu vida?
You don't seem so cheerful like you usually come. And
No te miras muy gozoso ya.
and I began to explain to him what had happened.
Le expliqué lo que había sucedido.
And I left. He goes, oh, go ahead and go home. You know, go home. You don't have to do anything
Luego me
today.
dice pues que me vaya, que no tengo que trabajar hoy en día.
And so we went to church. We had church that evening.
Fuimos al servicio de esta noche.
And I took my daughter to the altar because they had altar call.
Llevé a mi hija al altar.
And I began to tell my pastor and the ministers at that time where I was, that what was going on, and that I wanted them to pray for my daughter.
Le dije al pastor lo que estaba sucediendo en la vida de mi hija para que oraran por ella.
And they prayed for her that evening.
Oraron por ella.
And then the next day I went back to the man's house that I had to do the work at.
El siguiente día fui para trabajar a la casa del Señor.
And he goes, you were talking to me about a situation of your daughter.
Me estabas hablando de una situación de tu hija.
And you got to understand, I prayed that evening, and I prayed with my daughter at the altar.
Oré con mi hija en el altar.
But there was still something that I felt like I couldn't do anything. I still felt hopeless.
Pero todavía me
And helpless.
sentía como no había auxilio.
And the man began to talk to me that night, and he goes, I want to let you know I'm a Shriner.
Me dijo el Señor que era un Shriner.
I'm one of those guys that you see on the TV commercial that nobody sees.
Yo soy uno comercial en el TV, pero no me ves.
We donate to the hospital. We give help to the hospital. We allow these
Damos
doctors
dinero a los hospitales.
to do work. We're silent partners of the hospital, the Shriners.
Somos, ayudamos así en silencio
And I
a
took
los hospitales.
and I took your daughter to the board,
Y llevé a tu hija al borde.
and they said whatever you need,
Lo que tú necesitas,
just bring her to the hospital, and we'll get the doctors that you need to do the operation.
sí, llévala al doctor al hospital y vamos a obtener el doctor para que haga.
But you got to understand, what was going through my mind was what the doctor was saying.
Estaba pensando yo en mi mente lo que decía el doctor.
So I thanked them. And I said, if that's what we're gonna need, then I'll come to you. I appreciate
Y eso es lo que
everything.
vamos a necesitar, entonces ahí, gracias te doy.
But then I went home that night, and I just really got a hold of God. I just really had to get before the Lord.
Esa noche tuve que rogarle al Señor.
And I began to pray and pray and pray.
Y estaba orando y orando y orando.